Do you think you know all the bizarre rules that exist in North Korea? While the country lives in extreme poverty, Kim Jong-un maintains a secret group of young women known as the Pleasure Squad, with a shocking detail you would never imagine. Marriages require government approval, and wedding dates cannot coincide with the leaders' birthdays. But this is just the beginning. There are even rules for haircuts and children's names. Do you want to know how this regime maintains control over the population and what goes on behind the scenes of one of the most closed-off countries in the world? Get ready to discover 13 bizarre rules that North Koreans are forced to follow, but they don't want you to know about. Now you'll learn about the legend of the Pleasure Squad, one of the strangest stories surrounding Kim Jong-un. Allegedly, he inherited this practice from his father, Kim Jong-il, who created a secret group of young, beautiful women to entertain the leader at private, luxurious parties. The idea that, while the country faces poverty and hunger, Kim indulges in banquets with rare delicacies and expensive drinks highlights the gap between his power and the reality of the North Korean people. These women, carefully selected by authorities through a strict process, would undergo specific training to perform dances at exclusive events, where Kim would be surrounded by a lavish setting. Caviar, champagne, and exotic meats, products almost impossible for the population to obtain, would be served. These gatherings were not just parties. They showed a hidden side of Kim Jong-un's power, where he enjoyed a king-like life, far from political pressures. The Pleasure Squad was not only a form of entertainment, but also a demonstration of control, with the women participating in this routine without the right to refuse. North Korea has a highly secretive and specialized school aimed at training international spies. This institution, operating under absolute secrecy, is directly supervised by the government and the country's intelligence services. It is responsible for training agents to be infiltrated into other countries for espionage, sabotage, gathering strategic information, and spreading propaganda. Located in a remote, heavily guarded area, the school is internally known as a military training center to mislead foreign spies and observers. Recruits are handpicked from the most loyal citizens and must have an impeccable ideological background, in addition to demonstrating exceptional skills. The selection criteria include the ability to learn languages quickly, superior physical and intellectual abilities, and absolute loyalty to the leader and the party. In North Korea, citizens are subjected to regular loyalty examinations, an essential mechanism for the regime's social and political control. These exams assess each individual's faithfulness to the party and the leaders. The exams are conducted by local committees, usually composed of members of the Workers' Party of Korea and security officers. They occur periodically, often without prior notice, to evaluate loyalty through detailed interrogations, behavior reviews, and reports made by neighbors and colleagues. It is common for family, friends, and even co-workers to be interviewed to verify if the individual shows suspicious behavior or attitudes that could be seen as critical of the government. During the process, every aspect of the citizen's life is scrutinized, from their attendance at party meetings to how they speak and behave in public. Showing insufficient enthusiasm at patriotic events or failing to actively participate in mobilization campaigns can be seen as signs of disloyalty. Additionally, the use of technology or possession of foreign materials is rigorously investigated, as the government considers contact with external cultures a threat. Citizens are also encouraged to report suspicious behavior among acquaintances, creating an environment of mutual distrust and constant surveillance. Those deemed politically reliable and loyal receive benefits such as better housing, access to quality education, and job opportunities. On the other hand, those who fail the exams face severe punishments, which may include the loss of privileges, social demotion, and, in more serious cases, imprisonment. The families of suspects are also affected, losing rights and benefits as a form of collective punishment. In North Korea, women are often assigned to mandatory work locations as part of a strict system that controls citizens' professional and personal lives. The government determines the types of work each woman must do based on her skills, family background, and political loyalty. These work assignments are given after completing basic or secondary education and are intended to align women's professional roles with the regime's economic and political needs. Women are often placed in factories, collective farms, and public services such as teaching and social work. The choice of workplace is largely imposed by the government, and finding employment outside the state system is extremely limited. The conditions in these workplaces are often harsh, with long hours and low wages, but participation is mandatory. Failing Failure to appear or refusal to carry out assigned tasks can lead to severe punishment, such as reduced food rations, loss of basic benefits, and even imprisonment. In North Korea, marriage is not just a personal decision, but a process that must be approved by the state. For a couple to marry, both partners must undergo a thorough evaluation conducted by government committees. This system ensures that marriages occur only between individuals deemed loyal and trustworthy, preserving the regime's ideology for future generations. The committees investigate the family, political, and social background of the couple, checking for any history of behavior contrary to the regime's principles. Families with ties to defectors, political prisoners, or dissidents are viewed with suspicion, which may result in a marriage being prohibited. Additionally, the social status of the couple is considered. Individuals of the same social level and with similar political backgrounds are expected to marry to maintain the social order desired by the state. Marriages between common citizens and members of the political elite are highly controlled and often discouraged, as the regime seeks to prevent combinations that could destabilize the existing hierarchy. In cases of individuals in important or trusted positions, marriages may even be suggested or arranged by the government to form strategic alliances or ensure that trusted individuals remain within the regime's sphere of influence. In North Korea, wedding dates are carefully regulated by the state, and there is a strict rule prohibiting weddings from being held on the birthdays of the country's leaders, such as Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-un. These dates are considered sacred and are reserved exclusively for celebrations and tributes to the leaders, who are regarded as almost divine figures by the regime. The leaders' birthdays are national holidays involving grand ceremonies, parades, military displays, and other public events. On these days, the population is expected to dedicate themselves entirely to participating in the celebrations, expressing their loyalty and gratitude to the regime. Therefore, organizing a wedding or any personal event on these dates is seen as disrespectful and an affront to the sacred nature of these days. In North Korea, there is a practice known as the 3 generations of punishment, a brutal method of collective punishment imposed by the regime to maintain social and political control. According to this policy, if an individual is found guilty of a political crime or treason against the state, not only are they punished, but so are their future generations, including children and grandchildren. This practice serves as a means of intimidation and deters any behavior that could be seen as a threat to the government. When someone is accused of a political crime, such as attempting to escape the country, criticizing the regime, or showing insufficient loyalty, the government not only imprisons and punishes the individual, but also their entire family, even if other members were not directly involved. Family members are often sent to labor camps, known for their harsh conditions and grueling work. In North Korea, the movement of foreigners is strictly controlled, and there are several cities and regions in the country that are completely off limits to international visitors. Government-assigned guides accompany every step of the visitors and ensure that they only see the parts the regime wants to showcase, such as monuments, parks, and locations considered symbols of progress and prosperity. These visits are always restricted to specific routes, and any deviation is prohibited. The North Korean regime limits foreigners' access to these areas to protect sensitive information, ensure state security, and maintain control over what visitors see and experience. Most foreigners are only allowed to visit the capital, Pyongyang. The restricted cities are mainly industrial or military centers, or regions where missile tests and other secret military projects are conducted. The government fears that any contact or observation by foreigners in these areas might reveal information about the country's military and technological capabilities. In North Korea, even hairstyles are regulated by the state, which imposes a list of approved styles for men and women. The regime considers physical appearance an important part of social conformity and loyalty to the government, and thus dictates that citizens follow specific hairstyles deemed socially acceptable. These rules govern all aspects of daily life, including how North Koreans present themselves in public. For men, the official list includes simple, short haircuts without extravagance. The approved styles are practical and easy to maintain, meant to project an image of discipline and modesty. Men's hair must be kept short, generally not exceeding 5 centimeters. Additionally, haircuts imitating Western styles or considered decadent, like long hair or elaborate styles, are forbidden. For women, there is slightly more variety, but options are still limited. They can choose from a few short and medium-length styles, with shoulder-length hair being the most common. Longer hairstyles or styles requiring dye or treatments considered foreign influences are prohibited. Married women are usually encouraged to adopt short, practical hairstyles, while single women have a bit more freedom, but still within the pre-approved options. The Motherless Day is a practice carried out in North Korea during Party Foundation Day, an important date on the country's calendar. On this day, school-aged children are encouraged to spend time participating in activities without their mothers. The goal is to symbolize that the party is the true mother, protector and caretaker of all North Korean citizens. These activities are organized by the government and may include parades, group games, study sessions, and political education exercises. The idea is to strengthen the children's bond with the party from an early age, demonstrating that loyalty and respect for the government should surpass family ties. By spending an entire day without their mothers, children are taught to value and rely on the party as the central figure in their lives. In North Korea, even the choice of children's names is regulated by the state, reflecting the regime's strict control over the personal lives of its citizens. The North Korean government establishes specific guidelines to ensure that chosen names align with the ideological and cultural values promoted by the party. Names considered Western, overly individualistic, or suggesting foreign influences are prohibited. The expectation is that names carry meanings representing loyalty, patriotism, or socialist values. Another important rule is that names identical or similar to the country's past or current leaders are strictly forbidden. Names like Kim Jong-il or Kim Il-sung, and even variations resembling these names, are banned to prevent any disrespect or trivialization of figures considered sacred. In North Korea, the government tightly controls what people can wear. Citizens' personal style is restricted to prevent any foreign influence and ensure that everyone dresses according to the country's culture and principles. Modern or Western-style clothing is banned, and the approved options are simple and government-sanctioned, always focusing on simplicity and uniformity. For men, the clothing generally consists of simple pants and shirts in colors like gray, blue, and brown. Western-inspired styles are forbidden, and flashy accessories like colorful ties or jewelry are frowned upon. Men in important positions often wear standardized uniforms, maintaining a discreet appearance at all times. Women's clothing options are also limited. They typically wear simple dresses or skirts paired with conservative blouses. The use of bright colors or bold patterns is restricted, and skirts and dresses must be of modest length, according to government regulations. Pants are allowed for certain activities such as work, but the styles are always simple and traditional. Strong makeup and hairstyles imitating foreign trends are also discouraged. In North Korea, access to the internet is extremely limited and restricted for most of the population. Most citizens are not allowed to use the global internet as we know it. Instead, there is a government-controlled internal network called Kwangmyong, which is a closed intranet with websites carefully monitored and approved by the regime. This network offers highly filtered content, limited to approved material like state propaganda, educational resources, and local news praising the government and its leaders. Only a very small group of people, such as government officials, researchers, or authorized foreigners, have access to the global internet, and even then, this access is closely monitored. Computers and devices capable of connecting to the internet are controlled by the government, and usage is supervised to ensure that no dangerous content is accessed. And that's where the video ends. Which of these curiosities did you find most surprising? Please share your thoughts on the darker side of North Korea in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that's now appearing on your screen. I'm sure you'll enjoy the content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.